Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is Spiritual Temple from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Spiritual Temple. The French Freemasons say, "We erect temples for virtue and dungeons for vice," thus referring to the great Masonic doctrine of a spiritual temple. There is no symbolism of the order more sublime than that in which the speculative Freemason is supposed to be engaged in the construction of a spiritual temple, in allusion to that material one which was erected by his operative predecessors at Jerusalem. Indeed, the difference in this point of view between operative and speculative Freemasonry is simply this, that while the former was engaged in the construction on Mount Moriah of a material temple of stones and cedar and gold and precious stones, the latter is occupied, from his first to his last initiation, in the construction, the adornment and the completion of the spiritual temple of his body. The idea of making the temple a symbol of the body is not, it is true, exclusively Masonic. It had occurred to the first teachers of Christianity. Christ himself alluded to it when he said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." And St. Paul extends the idea in the first of his epistles to the Corinthians 3:16 in the following language: "Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?" And again in a subsequent passage of the same epistle, 6:19, he reiterates the idea in a more positive form. "What, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own?" But the mode of treating this symbolism by a reference to the particular Temple of Solomon and to the operative art engaged in its construction is an application of the idea peculiar to Freemasonry. Hitchcock, in his essay on Swedenborg, thinks that the same idea was also shared by the Hermetic philosophers. He says, "With perhaps the majority of readers, the Temple of Solomon and also the Tabernacle were mere buildings, very magnificent indeed, but still mere buildings for the worship of God. But some are struck with many portions of the account of their erection, admitting a moral interpretation. And while the buildings are allowed to stand or to have stood once visible objects, these interpreters are delighted to meet with indications that Moses and Solomon, in building the temples, were wise in the knowledge of God and of man, from which point it is not difficult to pass on to the moral meaning altogether, and affirm that the building, which was erected without the noise of a hammer, nor axe, nor any tool of iron, 1 Kings 6:7, was altogether a moral building, a building of God, not made with hands. In short, many see in the story of Solomon's temple a symbolical representation of man as the temple of God, with its Holy of Holies deep-seated in the center of the human heart. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.